if it's Korean martial arts, Chinese martial arts, Japanese, even so-called American martial arts, they're all very important. Never assume or presume that what you study is the absolute truth. Every martial arts system and or style has something to offer because it comes from different history and perspective. We, as practitioners and even instructors, don't know it all. We engage, or we start out on a journey, I should say. And on that journey, we need to find what is useful for us, the individual. I've been fortunate to study boxing, judo, jiu-jitsu, karate, tung sudo, taekwondo, Chinese martial arts such as Wing Chun and Bagua, and so forth. This is not a badge of honor. It just simply has been a privilege to have been a part of many of those systems. One of my great grandmasters told me, great grandmaster Quan Wan An, he said it's hard to study just one art. It takes a lifetime to study just one art. This is true. He told me that he admired me, but to study one art means to really embody the traditions, the culture, the techniques, and the forms, if there be any. It can take a lifetime, just about. But to study and train in the concepts, the thing that makes it work, is a totally different issue altogether. For example, if you go to a karate school, it could be Shotokan, Goju-ryu, Isshin-ryu, Chito-ryu, whatever the system is of karate, and you tell the instructor, I would like to learn your style. It may take you a decade to potentially embody that system and or style. Stop. Let's rewind now. Hypothetically, let's go back to that school and you ask the instructor, would you just teach me self-defense? I don't want to learn kata. I don't want to compete in tournament. I don't want to know the system and its history. From that standpoint, I just want to know how to defend myself. I want a foundation. Your instructor or potential instructor should be able to do that for you. And if they can't, their credibility should be questioned. You see, martial arts is a fighting art, irrespective of what the style or system may be. It is predicated on, hopefully, not using it, but if you were to have to use it and you could not avoid any physical conflict, you should be able to defend yourself. I mean, I remember when I joined the military, and every person thereafter, after I've been ETS'd out or I left the military, if there's a war going on right now, you can't take a year to train the troops to go fight. You need them right now, don't you? So there are some basics and some fundamentals that you can teach an individual that would give them a reasonable amount of confidence if they were to be confronted with a physical altercation. Everything else, my friends, is commercial and it's fluff. Some people may not be able to wrap their minds around this, but let me tell you, from almost 50 years of doing this thing called martial science, if a person really needs self-defense right now, they don't want to learn 20 or 30 katas or forms. They need something that person that's been harassing them or threatening them on the job or in the home or in their neighborhood or the recreation center or wherever, they need to know that they have a reasonable chance of defending themselves if they had to. And to tell them that, well, you have to come to class 4 or 5 times a week before you can learn how to poke a person in the eye. Or you have to come to class 6 months before you can even really say you know self-defense. That's a bunch of bull. That is not true. If you have the right instructor, all you need is communication with that individual and them having the real or true concern for you and your safety. They will teach you how to protect yourself no matter what the style or system is. And it's not going to take you a third of your life to learn. We must understand this. A lot of us have been misguided and misinformed about martial arts. You must realize that there's always a human being behind every organization, every vocation in the world, to include martial arts. And people have different reasons, different agendas, and it's not always in your best interest. For example, there are instructors that promote students to black belt in karate in a year. It doesn't take that period of time to receive a black belt in most instances, especially since my era that I came up in, it took 3 to 5 years. And there are some instructors that will promote you to black belt in 8 or 10 years. Why? Why does it take so long to achieve a certain goal or level in the martial arts? I know someone's going to say it depends on the person. It most definitely does depend on the person. We're all different. We're all individuals. And our capacity to comprehend and to learn and be able to apply is all different. So that's one of the variables. But if you want to learn self-defense, it doesn't take a decade to learn self-defense. You can learn enough self-defense in 60 days and at least have the concepts down in 30 days if you are serious as a potential student and if your instructor is serious about giving you the tools. So I know I kind of scrambled around, but I'm talking about how you should be looking at the martial arts as a means to protect yourself. Now, I showed you initially me going through this series or montage, if you will, of techniques. I was in a Chinese posture from Wing Chun and Tai Chi or Bagua. Then I went to the karate aspect of it. I went to the Chinese aspect. And you need to listen. What is your reason for learning martial arts? Some people say to build confidence. Some people say to get in shape. Others will say to protect myself. Some will say to learn how to focus. And I guess the list can go on, but those are some of the basics. Martial arts, regardless of what style or system, it should become a way of life. It has been mine for nearly 50 years. A couple more years, it'll be 50 years I've been in the martial arts. So, with that said, if it's boxing, if it's Wing Chun, if it's Tai Chi or Bagua, if it's Judo or Jiu-Jitsu, if it's Aikido, it doesn't matter. if you put your heart in your training and you learn the foundation. Note that I said foundation. Every system, every art has a foundation, and the foundation is predicated on science, physics. It is based on science. Fighting is a science. You must understand the human body. You must understand how it works. You must understand how to off balance a person when you're in balance and when you're not in balance, and when your opponent is in balance and not in balance. You must understand the organs and the system and the breathing. You must understand your technique and how it is applied, when it is applied, and speed and perception. There's one perception as to, we're talking about timing now, for example. One perception is when you acknowledge that you're being attacked. That's timing number one. And we're talking about response. So when you acknowledge, and these things happen in milliseconds, I'm about to be punched or kicked or grabbed, or someone is about to encroach inside my space. You must first timing and perception to see that, and then the next timing is your response to what is done. So you acknowledge or you recognize that you are in danger, and then you respond to that danger. Two timings. You must learn how to recognize and respond appropriately. Those are two key elements to survival in a street confrontation. You must understand distance, what is kicking range, what is striking range, what is grappling range. You must understand these as well. You must understand how not to watch always your opponent's eyes. It can be deceiving and even intimidating. Instead, you watch the body. That way you are not influenced by facial expressions or even things that they say to try and intimidate you or throw you off of your game. If you're in class, you must learn how to practice technique repetitiously, over and over and over and over again, until it becomes your second nature. In other words, it becomes automatic. Mushin, notion, mind of no mind. When you're in a confrontation, when your opponent attacks you, you respond. You don't think, you respond. And that response is a direct result of your training. How you train in your class is how you're going to respond in an actual physical confrontation. I bounced around a little, but I'm sure and I do hope most of you got my point. So again, to recap, regardless of what you're studying, style of martial arts or system of martial arts, take what is useful for you. If you're only capable of studying one art, that's fine. Make the best of it. But if you are privileged to be able to study more than one art, take the best from those arts and make them fit you in your personality, your stature, your weight, your height, and your physical or current physical ability. And you will be well on your way to succeeding in your particular endeavor to be able to defend yourself and your loved ones. I hope that this video was insightful to those that have watched it, and if you didn't get anything out of it, maybe you should stop it, or when it gets to the end, play it again and you hear some philosophical things but also some practical things. This is Brother Teacher. Stay true to yourself. Stay true to your art. Stay true to your practices. And make sure you practice diligently. And the result is going to be inevitable. That's going to be success for you. Yahweh love you. And I love you. So long.